Hey everybody, what's up? It's your friend James Shaw. Thank you so much for being back with us as we do what we do, which is talking to elite people who are doing elite things. I think Amanda is one of the most elite people I've ever met. We met when I did an event in Milwaukee, and then I've seen you at various KW events, and I just admire what you have created, and I'm excited to chat with you. A lot of people may not know who you are, though, so will you introduce yourself, tell them who you are and where you are, and a little bit about your business?
Sure. Thanks, James. I am so glad to be here. So I'm Amanda Schroder. I own a key home team. We are located in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I'm in my 11th year in business. My background is in teaching. I was a teacher and educator, and then I ran fine dining restaurants for a number of years. So pretty much all my systems and how I run my team comes from that. We will end the year at about 66 units, about 22 million GCI, about half a million this year. Aiming for a little bit more next year, 86 units, 27 million, about 550 for GCI. My team is 5 people total. Myself, 2 other agents. We all work with buyers and sellers. We call her our organization Maven. She's our director of operations and our TC. And then we have a team support ace who does a lot of different things, kind of running around client events, some things related to listings. So we're small but mighty.
And you're doing a house and a quarter a week. I mean, that's something to be pretty proud of. So well, and
Yeah.
you built it in a short time, right? Owning this team for 3 years, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
When you mentioned fine dining, obviously, then that's about systems and knowing what comes next and anticipating. I imagine there's a
Yes.
lot of crossover in what you did in the fine dining space to what you're doing in the real estate business.
There really is. I had a great manager when I first started in fine dining, and he always said, the battle is won before the first guest walks through the door. And I think about that a lot. So when I was a solo agent, I was working with a lot of clients at once. For a few years in a row, I maxed out at 45 clients a year. I had no TC, I was doing everything myself. Note, don't do that. But it was a way for me to apply these idea of systems, being ready, being prepared for clients at all times, being able to just plug them into something where it felt very smooth and very client focused. And so I took that and ran with it in my business, and it worked very well. And now it's how we operate as a team also. So that
Yeah,
high level of client care is top notch.
it totally is, and you can tell from the systems that you have. But is there a particular lesson outside of this? You know, the battle starts before somebody walks in. Is there another key lesson you learned in your fine dining time that's been really helpful in your real estate business?
Yeah, I have the benefit of the majority of my team having a hospitality background. And so we kind of speak the same language. And how I've built my team is that I see myself as the manager, the owner of the restaurant, and my team are my servers. And the way that we take care of clients, with 2 of us caring for any one client, has allowed me to use that in real estate. So I'm there checking in, I'm kind of a point person along the way, but my team agent is really the one kind of making the process happen, going on showings or setting up appointments, whatever it is for that client. And I'm there as like the backup, and I can like table touch and check in, see how they're feeling. When there's something that needs to go to the manager, I'm there. It works really well. It's something I learned the hard way. I didn't do that at first with my team. I would just hand people off to my team members and show that I trusted them, but it just wasn't the kind of service I wanted to offer, and some things fell through the cracks. And now we've really got it down, well-oiled machine.
You've systematized your service, and there's two pieces though, because as we've talked about what we're going to look at today, I'm realizing that really your team is your first responsibility. That how you
Yes,
take care of them is how they're going to take care of your clients and customers who choose to do business with you. And almost all of your business is referral and sphere and past client. And so you
yes,
really have to pour into your team members and add value to your team members and create an environment where they want to be helpful, because if they're disgruntled at you, they're not going to be great to your people that are buying and
exactly.
selling homes with you. So you got to be great with them. And you've set up some key systems to help make sure that they've got clarity about what their role is and what they hope to accomplish, and they're on track. And I think that those systems could be done by a team, no doubt, because you're doing that, but also any individual agent could apply what you're teaching. And there were two big pieces that stood out to me. You've got this kind of weekly accountability meeting reset. I don't even know what you want to call it. I would imagine that in the fine dining space, this is something that happened probably before each night that you all would meet and
Yeah.
stand up and walk through things. But I want you to talk about this team meeting idea that you do, and then this quarterly review process, which is really smart. It's really in depth, and we're going to look at it. Will you tell
Yeah.
us about the team meeting, though?
Yes. So my team meets every week. We meet on Mondays. It's kind of a long meeting. It's 2 hours, but there's a break in the middle. And we have tried to shrink it down, but it's really, we cover so much. So we talk about, how's everybody feeling? We're touching
Okay,
base
I'm
with all the
interrupting
team
because
members.
time out, because there
Yeah.
are definitely people watching going 2 hours. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But I want to just, and you all can do whatever you want, but why is 2 hours so important here before we chunk it down? Why does it need that much time? Because so many of us in this industry are just go, go, go. I don't have time for that.
Yeah. It is when we do everything. This is how we set everyone up for success for the week. So if you think of yourself doing your own like check-in for the week, making sure you have your important things noted that you have to accomplish, review last week, see how you're feeling, we do that together. So there's a lot of value in there for every team member. It's very interactive. That's part of the reason it's longer. It's not just one person talking the whole time. There's some brainstorming that happens in there. There's some reflection. We go over our under contract clients, and then we go over all of our projects. And we do 5 team events for our clients a year, plus some mini events. So there's always some event happening. There's always something that we're putting together. All of that happens in there. So it's like operations, under contract, personal, development. It's all in one time. And then I do one-on-ones with each team member throughout the week. That's more of a coaching.
It's really good. I want to chunk down this team meeting a little bit more because, again, key elements in it that any agent could apply. You talk
Yeah.
about three most important tasks in the last week. That's an accountability check. And so
Yes.
are you doing that in front of everyone, like person by person, kind of down the line, and we're going through
Yeah.
with an agent about maybe 3 leads they worked with and an ops person about what their things were? Tell me about this 3 most important accountability check-in.
Yeah, so we do this because it's something you can accomplish. So you look at your 3 most important tasks for the week. We set them the week before in front of each other, and then the first thing we do when we start up the meeting on Monday is ask how those went. And we ask in the context of our victories for the week. So were your top 3 your victories this week, or were they a challenge? And so we go through each one. Did you do this? Did you do that? How's that going? Did you have any additional victories beyond that? And then so we try to start it off on a positive note. So it's accountability, but it's not judgment and shame. It's, can we consider this a victory, or what part of this was a victory from last week?
And then I imagine that that's not a victory all the time, all 3, that there are challenges that come up. And my guess is
Yeah.
that they help support each other in creating, I don't know, a learning opportunity or a chance to get better.
Yes, definitely. And that's part of the reason I like doing this all together is there's so much learning that happens between team members. I have a pretty young team. We started 3 years ago, and my 2 team agents are 3 and 4 years in the business. So,
Have they
they're
been with you
still
the whole
learning, they're
time?
still developing. Yes.
Anybody who's sitting here going, I don't think I could do this 2-hour team meeting where I'm publicly doing accountability. Amanda's got 2 agents and they've been with her the whole time, and you're producing. You guys are selling homes.
Mhm.
Was it something they bought into right away? Are they so new in the business they don't know any other way? Like, how are you getting them to still do this with you?
At first, my systems weren't as clear. I wasn't as organized as a leader because I had come off of being so busy. But as the first year or 2 went on, I started to put these into place, and I did it with their buy-in. I asked them, like, would you feel that this is something worth adding? Would you see benefit to this? Do you feel comfortable doing this? As a team each year, we do a big review and we talk about how do we do what we do, and is there anything that we want to change? Everybody has a voice and there's value in that, and also then everyone's buying in. We also have a very close knit team. It is a safe space. and everyone understands that and really truly believes in that. And so it's a different kind of environment than you might find in other teams, but that works really well for us.
I love it. So you're doing this accountability check-in, which is, first of all, we picked the three things last week. Did we succeed in that? You called it a victory. Did we have a challenge? And then you walk through it. So that's the what worked and what didn't work. You're celebrating each other. So you're doing some gratitude. But then
Yep.
we have vibe check. What is a vibe check? That sounds very Wisconsin to me.
I love it. So vibe check is just how are you doing? I think for all of us to understand who needs support, who needs space, who might, have more challenges going on in the week. It's just how are you feeling right now? With all the things going on in the world, I have very empathetic, incredibly emotionally intelligent team members, and they can be very affected by what's going on around them. So it's important for us to know where everyone's at, so that we go into the week with that understanding, because we were interacting a lot and relying on each other and just want to be there for each other. And so putting it out there, like, here's how I'm feeling. It's also a way for us to go back and check our notes later. Like, hey, if production was kind of slower, or we had these challenges going on, it helps us understand why our stats look the way they do.
That's good to know. You do check in on your past client needs and what's happening there and get an update with that. But then you guys keep a pipeline as a team, and then
Yeah.
do you sit down and review their pipeline one-on-one? Does somebody else do that? How do you check the pipeline?
Yeah, so having a teaching background, I love doing the coaching side of things. So I meet with each team member every week. With my operations people, it's more of an operations check-in, but a little bit of their performance. And then for my agents, it's really a coaching session where we're going over, where are you at with your pipeline? What's your progress with these people? Have you tried this? Have you tried that? And also, the other activities that they've said that they would be doing for the week, things they want to learn more about. So it's a great chance to have that accountability built in. My whole team is some flavor of ADHD. So we need structure that keeps us accountable, that is built into the team. Relying on each person to do that on their own doesn't quite work. And the way everybody tracks their pipeline is a little bit different. But I kind of keep that all in one place that I can share with my coach and just get a good idea of where we're headed for the next quarter.
The takeaway for me, and this would be for any agent, whether you're a solo agent or you're running a sales team, or you have just maybe it's you and one admin, you can follow this process. And you may not need 2 hours based on the size of your organization. But if you sat down every Monday and said, all right, what were my three most important tasks that I determined last Monday, right? What were they? Where were my victories in them? Where were my challenges, right? Just ask yourself, just do an assessment. All right, then what are my three most important things that need to happen in this next week? Maybe right before that, just do a vibe check. How am I feeling? What's my energy like right now? What is how am I feeling about the world at the moment? And then reviewing your pipeline. Where's my next piece of business coming from? Do I have enough leads in the pipeline to reach my goals? And then is there anything I need to do with my people that are currently under contract or pending? That little review for a solo agent might take 20 minutes, but to sit down and do some kind of review like that really gets you off on the right foot and you get into this rhythm. But then your next level, I've always thought since the day I met you, I thought you are let me take it just one step further. And I had a mentor tell me once that the difference between extraordinary and ordinary is just extra. And you are extra, and I mean it in a good way, good extra.
Yep.
And you have added this quarterly review process with them. And I'm fascinated by it. Will you give us an overview of this quarterly review? And then we're going to show people what you use, but just give us kind of the 30,000-foot view of it.
Sure. So this is all built into other parts of the year as well. So keep in mind, this is something you kind of like build up to doing more efficiently. We do those check-ins every week because we're asking similar questions. We also do it quarterly. We also do it at the end of the year. So basically we're looking at, yes, how am I feeling and where am I versus where I want to be. As a team, we set our 5-year vision, then we build a 1-year vision off of that, and then we build 1-year goals. So we have those split out into the quarters. We operate on like the 12-week year. So we do 12 weeks of working towards our goals. The 13th week is when we review, reflect, and reset. And we're just checking in. Where am I truly at with my pipeline, my folks that have closed, my clients under contract, the activities I said I would do, the habits I said I would build this quarter, all of those pieces that we review on a weekly basis, but more in depth, revisiting things like our funnel, are our activities matching, the results we want to get. So it gets pretty granular, but it's
Yeah.
extremely insightful.
Well, let's look at it. Here it is right here, and we're going to go through it here kind of bit by bit. But Inspire members, I'll tell you that Amanda has shared it with us, and I'm so thankful that she has. So Inspire members, if you just want to download it, it's a 3-page report. You can do with it as you please. But Inspire members, if you're interested, you can find it in the portal. If you are not an Inspire member, you can get info@jamesdshaw.com. But I want you to go through it because, and we don't have to go line by line and all that jazz, but just, kind of an overview. And here's the part where you said, all right, we've got our review. You really do. You want to get to the heart of what they're about, Amanda.
Yes, because at the end of the day, just looking at your numbers will either make you feel good or bad temporarily. This is about a great career and a great life. This is bigger than just this year and your production. So we start with your values, your big why or your mission, where you want to be in 5 years. You should feel inspired at the start of this, right? Like some of this gets to be a little tedious. And so we want people to remember, like, who am I? What do I stand for? What is the impact I want to have in the world? And then we look at, okay, with that in mind, here's where I want to go. And I
No
will say
wonder
the
your
top of
people.
this
Oh,
is,
I'm
yeah, go
sorry. Go
ahead.
ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you
The
off. Go
top
ahead.
of this is where you promise yourself, this is when I'm going to do this, and I have a deadline. I think that's important, especially when you're a solo agent, to make a promise in writing. So it's there very intentionally at the very top of the page so that you make a commitment to doing this and completing it by a certain time.
Yeah, so a solo agent could put a date in there that they want to do it. What
Yeah.
I apologize for interrupting you. I didn't mean to. The aha for me in what you said was no wonder these people are staying with you because you are all on board with helping them create the life they want. Like you are part
Yes.
of their circle to make sure that they achieve their hopes and dreams. And I think this is a rainmaker's opportunity to realize that when you understand that the people who work with you are your first responsibility in the business, not your buyers and sellers, but those people.
Right.
And if you can help them achieve whatever it is they want, they aren't going anywhere. Jenny Wallach is the one who taught that to me as I've grown my organization to recognize that Vicky and Anna and Grace and Nadine, that's my first. I'm responsible to them first before I'm responsible to anybody that's a member of Pivot or Inspire. And I think you figure that out by helping them get clarity about what's important to them, what they want to accomplish, all that kind of stuff, Amanda. No wonder they're staying.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when I was in restaurants, there was a lot of emphasis on if our staff is feeling empowered, supported, seen, that they would take better care of our clients
Yeah.
because as the restaurant owner, as the manager, we can't be with every client, with every customer at all times. So we have to make sure that the people that are taking care of them aren't just doing their job, but they're feeling invested, they're enjoying it, that it comes through really genuinely because that's what makes really happy clients and customers.
If you find that you've had a bad experience at anywhere, a retail store, a restaurant, anywhere you've been, my guess would be that that's less a reflection on that person in most cases and more a reflection of the culture of the environment they're in. And so you want to make sure you're creating a really positive culture, which is really good. And this sheet helps do it. If you look at the next piece, you're looking at, goals for the year and the quarter and where they are. It's pretty easy stuff. And then this momentum, this pipeline piece, you're all in on the pipeline. I think that's really important. So I love that. Let's look at page 2. Page 2 is great too. This is your reflect and reset section. So tell us what you're doing here in reflect and reset.
So the reflection is, okay, now I've looked at my numbers and where I, was supposed to be, said I wanted to be, where I am. Now let's go back to emotions. How do I feel about that? Like, how does that compare to the life I want to be living by the end of this year? And, what are those other victories or wins to help me feel like, okay, so I didn't hit my numbers goals, but maybe I have other victories that are absolutely worth mentioning and celebrating. So it's not all about my production goals being too low or, not hitting the goals I hoped I would and then just feeling bad about it, but recognizing there's a bigger picture here to your life or to other parts of your business. Maybe you increased your average sale price dramatically and that wasn't even part of your goals, but the activities you were doing got you there. Maybe it's that, for my team agents, they were bringing in more of their own leads and that helps them make more money. So maybe their GCI is looking pretty good, even if their units and their volume isn't. So there's other places where you can celebrate, feel good about, consider before you do your reset for the next quarter.
So good. It's so good. We got to focus on what's working and then where can we get better. We're winning, even if we're struggling. There's somewhere where we've
Yep.
won. Let's figure out what that is. God, this should be mandatory for every human being on the planet. Sit down to this quarterly form.
Yeah.
We're going to add it ourselves for our stuff. Page 3 is about activities. So you're getting them back into the things that are going to get the results they want. Walk me through page 3.
Yeah. So, of course, it all comes back to lead generation. So, reminding yourself, what are my 1 to 3 activities that I'll consistently do? And it really should not be more than 3. That's, I think, something Gary has said as well. Like, there really should be a very focused effort when it comes to lead generation. And we like to stick with it for a quarter. You've got to give it time to give you results or not. And we have proven lead generation systems at this point. And then breaking it down for next quarter. So, like, what are the actual activities and putting them in your schedule because we truly believe what gets scheduled gets done. If it's not on your schedule, it's not a priority. It's very likely to get forgotten or not done as well or as efficiently. So, that's super key. Like, identify those things, break them down into smaller steps, and then put them in the calendar.
It's so good. Any agent could use this system. What has it done for your people, for you and the people that you work with? How has this weekly team meeting and this quarterly tracking helped them?
It really gives us perspective. It's something I did solo and I've kind of developed over time for my team, but I used this a lot when I was on my own, and it just every time I was feeling guilty or worried, and then I'd sit down and do this and be like, "You know what? I'm actually doing pretty good. I feel like I have victories here. I've grown in this way, and I can still be thankful for this thing going on in my life that I wouldn't have dreamed of 2 to 5 years ago." So I think more than anything, it will feel good when you're done. It feels very empowering. It helps you recognize what you can control and respond to. And I think, yeah, everybody can benefit from it. It's really worth taking the time. So few people take the time to reflect and plan. And that is how I have built my business is on reflection, planning systems. It seems intimidating. It can be something very simple. Start with this and then build from there.
So good. Inspire members, again, we have it for you. Amanda shared it with us inside the portal. So if you're an Inspire member, go to the portal. You can download it. If you're not an Inspire member, details on the screen. And I'm thinking, Amanda, for our Thrive Challenge that we're doing in 2025, this would be a good form we can use. So you've said that we could use this. So we're going to take it and we're going to
Yeah.
make some tweaks and make an Inspire version and give you all the credit because we always give credit. But I think to help people in our challenge too, be able to reflect and reset. So Amanda, anything you want to add before we roll out?
I think remember to not be judgmental. When you're reviewing, you're reflecting, you're looking at your business, how you take care of people. Focus more on your values and your mission and less on being harsh to yourself or other agents or other team members. Really tie everything back to what you care about, why you think you're here on this earth, like what your purpose is. And that will give you a really solid base to be confident and to be extremely intentional about everything you decide to do. That it's really focused on what you value and in turn what your clients value. Who's your ideal client? They're likely similar to you. And so if you build everything off of that and just leave the judgment to the side, you're going to have much better clarity and a much more enjoyable life and feel better about your business. It doesn't matter what other people think success is, it's about you.
Oh, I like you. That was so good. We're gonna use some of this stuff in our Thrive Challenge that starts January 27th. So Inspire members, stay tuned for that. Amanda, you're an absolute genius. Thank you for taking the time out to come and chat with us today. I appreciate you.
Thanks.